A question that I often get is, can I take my dissertation and turn it into a book? And if yes, how so? Well, today I want to talk about the most important things that you need to know in order to take your dissertation and turn it into a book that actually sells. For those that are new to me, hi, I'm Dr. Nicolia, and I'm a best-selling author of 10 books as well as a certified life coach. And I help people that have a story that they want to share with the world learn to plan it out, publish it, and prosper from their books. And I would love the opportunity to support you with taking this dissertation idea you have and turning it into a published masterpiece. The reality is a dissertation holds a lot of weight in grad school because it's the very thing that gets you out. And then it also offers you an opportunity to be published, and so you can stand out in the academia world. But outside of that, it doesn't hold much weight. And that's why a lot of people want to consider what they could possibly do with all of that work they put into this dissertation. And to be honest, I think the next best step and the most logical step is to be able to publish a book. Now, you have a lot of different options. You can consider traditional publishing, but today I want to talk about the steps that you can take if you're interested in self-publishing your dissertation. So let's break it down. I'm going to share 5 tips that everyone needs to know when they're taking their dissertation and turning it into a book. Step 1. A dissertation and a book are 2 totally different things. Think about it. As the author of a dissertation, you're a young scholar trying to prove your expertise by showcasing all the research you've done. When you write a book, your authority is already assumed in being the author. Dissertations are written in a very scholarly and academic voice or tone, versus books, they're written more casually and conversational. With your dissertation, your ideal reader is the committee, and all you're trying to do is please them, show them your expertise so they can approve it and you can graduate. With a book, your ideal reader is on a broader scale. So who is your ideal reader? Is it women? Is it men? Is it younger? Is it old? Is it people that are interested in this particular concept? With a dissertation, you're showing more of the methodology versus with a book, you're sharing the information, but you're also sharing information that's transformational for your reader. The biggest mistake you can make on this journey is to assume that you can just copy and paste your dissertation and plug it into a book and then hit go. Dissertations are boring. And I can say that because I've written a dissertation that ultimately is boring. It was able to accomplish my goal of getting through grad school, sharing the research, showcasing what I learned. But if I were to present my dissertation to someone with all the statistics, with all the references, with the qualitative phenomenological study, it would overwhelm a typical reader. And so your job is to deliver information to your reader in a way that's digestible, not in a way that's overwhelming. And that's a huge difference between a dissertation and a book as well. Another big thing that you got to know is you got to understand your reader. With a dissertation, your job is to understand the topic and to understand what your committee is expecting of you. With a book, your job is to understand your reader and most importantly, how you can appeal to your reader. In a dissertation, you talk a lot about you and you reference yourself and why you chose the topic. With a book, your job is to explain why this topic is something your reader needs to learn more about. But you can't do that thoroughly unless you identify and understand who they are. Number 3 is you got to understand your tone. Dissertations and books have totally different tones. Dissertations are intentionally very formal and very focused on academia. I know for me, I struggled because I had written several books before writing my dissertation. And so when it came time to write my dissertation, a big complaint that my committee had was that I was too formal. But then on the flip side, when it was time to turn my dissertation into a book, it was really difficult because I wanted to be overly formal when most books are not presented that way. One great strategy that you can incorporate when you're trying to turn your dissertation into a book is to read more books on that current topic. You can see how the books flow. You can see how the information is delivered. You can even see from a reader's perspective the way you engage with that topic. That allows you to inform your writing as you take it from a dissertation and turn it into a book. A big concept that you got to know is that page length does matter. A lot of times with dissertations, they're extremely lengthy. You're giving a ton of information, a ton of resources, a ton of research, and you're compiling it and giving it to your committee. And so they're very lengthy. Some dissertations can be upwards of 300 to 500 pages. And so that's not the same for a book. So don't try to mimic the length when you go from dissertation to book. Most books nowadays, because we live in such a fast-paced world with so many expectations and responsibilities, most books are under about 150 pages. The reality is no matter what information you're trying to give to people, they want it and they want it quick. And so don't try to overwhelm your audience by focusing so much on page count, but instead focus on delivering the most important information that you have to give. For me personally, I focused on my big objective. My dissertation was written on success and leadership amongst women entrepreneurs and the way in which they understood and engaged with those two topics. And so my overall goal was to be able to help my readers understand that success is an inside job. It's not something that they can define based on society standards or based on anyone's standards, really. It's something unique that they have to define amongst themselves. And so that was my big objective. I didn't focus on my page count. I focused on the strategies that I could share within my book that helped my readers walk away with that objective that I had in mind to begin with. You can do the same strategy. Identify what you hope that your readers take and walk away with, what that big objective is, and focus on that instead of focusing on the page count. Finally, the last thing that I need you to know is that you got to be patient with the process. Here's the reality. You put a lot of work into your dissertation, and it's going to require a lot of work to turn it into a book. It is not as simple as copy and paste like I mentioned before. It's going to require a lot of editing, a lot of revising, a lot of changing, especially if you did your dissertation a long time ago and you need to update and get new information to remain relevant, or maybe you struggled a little bit with topic fatigue or you got tired of talking about that same topic and you need to pump yourself up to talk about it with a new approach. It's going to require a lot of work. In fact, if it doesn't require a lot of work, you're likely doing something wrong. So don't get discouraged. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't be so quick to throw in the towel if it requires a lot of work. Remember, most importantly, you did research and it should never be in vain. The world needs an opportunity to learn from you, to hear your voice, and to have an opportunity to experience what you learned throughout your research. So overall, taking my dissertation and turning it into a book was a very tedious task, but it was so worth it. So if this is something that you're considering and you're looking for support on this journey, use the link below to sign up for a totally free strategy call where we can talk about where you're at, where you're stuck, what your big goals are, and how I can help you get there. I look forward to connecting with you very soon, and I hope that you have an amazing day.